What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the TheVaultProScooters. Today we're going to be breaking down how to do blunt stalls and blunt slides. You guys have been asking. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I love blunt slides. If you missed our last how-to, we had the king of front 50s, Isaac Miller, break that down. So if you want to learn how to front 50 by the master himself, click the card up there and check it out. But today, I will teach you every tip and trick that I know on how to do a blunt stall and how to do a blunt slide. All right, so let's start with blunt stalls. First of all, let's talk about what a blunt stall is. A blunt stall is essentially a stall where you stall on your blunt plate. What is a blunt plate? This part of your deck right here is a blunt plate. Some decks have more blunt space, other decks do not. Personally, I love the tilt deck because it has a lot of blunt space. To each their own, whatever deck you have might have more, you might have less. Either way, you can do these front side, you can do these back side. Obviously, that is just dependent on which way you spin into it. But either way, let's talk about a couple easy steps to work your way into a blunt stall. First things first, I would recommend learning it on a curb or a small ledge like I have here. I'm goofy, so if I was gonna do a front side blunt, I would be approaching it this way and would be spinning to my right. And I know that's front side because my toes and my front side are the part of my body that are gonna be spinning. I'm gonna approach it, I'm gonna hop and practice just trying to get the ledge right there in between my wheel and my deck. Another key point about this trick is you really have to lean into whatever it is that you're stalling on. If this was a quarter pipe and I would be going down the quarter pipe, you really have to lean inside so you can get pitted enough that you're gonna be stalling on your blunt plate. Step number 2 is you need to turn your bars. So you guys can really see how this is how much room there is to do the trick when my wheel is straight. If I turn my bars, there's just so much more room to play with. Just like every scooter trick, bending your knees is huge. Obviously, you want to keep your weight distribution low. If you squat and you drop your knees, you're pushing all your weight down, which is going to help keep you in the stall or the grind. So those are like the key elements when it comes to doing a blunt stall and a blunt slide. Really getting comfortable leaning into the ramp or the ledge, and also being comfortable turning your bars. Once you're confidently getting into the stall where you're landing on your blunt plate, your bars are turned, your back wheel's lifted, you're nice and pitted, and you're doing that on the curbs and you're doing that on the ledges, you can slowly work your way up to doing them on a quarter pipe. Key things that you guys should kind of know: you should not be learning blunt stalls if you guys can't already air up that quarter and make your way all the way out. You should definitely have feeble stalls and Smith stalls also kind of perfected, because just being comfortable doing stalls already and also kind of making your way up a quarter pipe is just going to make things a little bit easier for you. So the same 3 steps that I put into doing a stall, you're going to be applying to the quarter pipe. So step number 1, you're going to be doing a front side 180, practicing getting the coping of the quarter pipe into your blunt plate. Step number 2, once you guys have that blunt plate locked in, you're going to be turning your bars at 90 degrees. You're going to be leaning into the ramp, and then you're also going to be dropping your knees and your weight to hold you into the stall. Step number 3, drop your knees and lean into the ramp. I cannot stress it enough how important it is to lean into the ramp for this trick. And when I see people trying to do blunt stalls, the biggest thing that I always see them not doing is actually leaning into the ramp. It's a bit scary in the beginning because there's a lot of commitment that goes into leaning into the ramp while also being into a stall, but it is pretty much essential when doing this trick. So make sure you guys are dropping your weight and leaning into the ramp. Other than that, the only other difference is you got to go back into the ramp. So by this point, I would imagine you guys are fairly comfortable dropping into a quarter pipe, whether you're putting your deck on it and dropping in or actually riding and hopping in. Once you guys are locked into your blunt stall and you're ready to go back in the ramp, it's as simple as just hopping a little bit and going back in the ramp. You guys honestly shouldn't have any issues. It's just kind of not being scared. And once you guys do it once, you pretty much got it down. So practice getting locked into the stall first, then worry about going back into the ramp. And if you guys are worried about the hopping in, you can even practice just putting your scooter into the blunt stall on its own, putting your feet on, and then jumping into the ramp if that's what makes you feel a little bit more comfortable. Okay, so now that we broke down how to do a blunt stall from a curb to a quarter pipe, I think it's time that I show you guys a few of them and show you what exactly it looks like in the real world. That was front side. Let's show you guys a few backside, just so you have an idea of what those look like as well. comes to doing backside blunt stalls, the same exact rules apply. Once you guys have front side blunts kind of mastered and you guys are getting into them very consistently, you can work on doing the same exact thing backside. You're still gonna be turning your wheel, you're just gonna be turning it the opposite way. You're still gonna be pushing the ledge or the coping into your blunt plate, and you're gonna be dipping in. The only reason that this trick is a little bit harder is just like any backside trick, you're kind of blind to what's coming around. When you do front side tricks, you can see the obstacle that you're hitting. When you do backside tricks, what's gonna happen is kind of in the unknown because you can't really see what's happening behind you. So once you guys feel comfortable enough with front side blunt stalls, you can work your way into backside blunt stalls. All you're gonna do is take all the same principles and rules from the front side stall and work them in to the backside. So now that we've talked about blunt stalls and you guys know everything that there is to know about a blunt stall, we can move on to blunt slides. So I know there's a ton of you guys out there that wanna learn how to blunt slide. For those of you guys watching that didn't even know how to blunt stall, I would definitely recommend perfecting your blunt stalls before trying to blunt slide. So when it comes to blunt stalls, obviously you're just working on getting comfortable locking the coping into your blunt plate. And when it comes to blunt slides, you're doing the exact same thing. But not only do you need to be comfortable doing the stall, you need to be comfortable sliding while you are in the stall. So when it comes to doing blunt slides, you're gonna wanna find yourself a ledge like I have here. The coping on this ledge is very wide. And what that does is it allows you just to have a lot more grind surface when it comes to learning blunt stalls. If you're trying to learn this trick on a ledge that doesn't have a lot of coping, I would recommend just waxing the heck out of it so it'll be as easy as possible for you to slide through. Another huge difference between blunt stalls and blunt slides is you don't approach a blunt slide going head on with the obstacle. You apply it going parallel with the obstacle. Obviously, when you do a blunt stall, you're going up, you're doing a 180, you're stalling, and you're going back in. But with this trick, you're trying to grind the obstacle, so you have to obviously go at it parallel. With this trick, I really recommend trying to be as parallel with the ledge as possible. If you come at it at like a 45-degree angle, it definitely works, but the only problem is your momentum is going that way, where you're trying to grind this way. Try to be as parallel with it as possible, so it takes all your momentum through the grind and not up on top of the ledge. So find yourself your ledge, be nice and parallel with it, and you're gonna apply the exact same rules. You're gonna be hopping, you're gonna be pushing the ledge in between your blunt plate and your wheel. You're gonna be turning your bars, and once again, you're gonna be dipping yourself so your back wheel is nice and lifted, and you're gonna be bending your knees so you slide through it. Just practice getting on it and sliding a couple inches and work your way up to doing the whole ledge. I would definitely recommend trying to grind like the last maybe foot of a ledge and sliding off of it, just so you guys get familiar with what it feels like to actually come out of a blunt slide. Don't forget you're doing a grind. Make sure to keep your legs nice and bent so you guys have all your weight with you. And once again, just practice, practice, practice. So that's pretty much the breakdown of how to do a blunt slide. Same exact as a blunt stall, except you're gonna be going parallel at the ledge and actually sliding through it. Some of those rules are a little bit more drastic than the others. When it comes to doing a slide, how much you actually dip into it and lift your back wheel does come into play a lot more than it does on a stall. Since you're moving, there's gonna be a lot of movement, there's gonna be friction from the ledge to your scooter. So the more dipped you are, the better you're gonna slide through it, except it's a little bit scarier. So this trick is very confidence-based. And same as a stall, you guys should definitely be learning blunt slides front side before you learn them backside. Backside blunt slides are probably one of the scariest tricks that I've ever done. So definitely learn this trick front side, just like a blunt stall. Then once you guys have those dialed in, you can work on doing backside. So we broke down the steps on how to do a blunt stall, and now we have broke down the steps on how to do a blunt slide. I'm gonna go ahead and do a couple for you, front side and backside, just so you guys can have an idea of what the final product should look like. Alrighty, so that's what a successful blunt slide looks like, both front side and back side. So all you guys have to do is follow those simple steps, practice a lot, and eventually you will be as mediocre as I am at doing blunt stalls and blunt grinds. All right, well, that is it for this how-to. If you guys picked up anything from this video, let us know by hitting that like button. It honestly means more to us than you guys could ever imagine. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. We have a ton of more content coming out soon. And make sure to shop TheVaultProScooters for all of your scooter needs. If you guys have any other recommendations for tricks that you want to see us teach you, drop them in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.